Well, good evening. Welcome to Bedtime Stories with me, Pastor Michelle. Today's Thursday, February 4th, and our Disney story tonight comes from 101 Dalmatians, and it's called Pongo Carries a Tune. I don't know what we're going to do, Roger Radcliffe told his wife, Anita. We have all these puppies to feed, and I don't have one song to sell. Don't worry, Anita said. I'm sure you'll be inspired soon. I'm glad you're sure, said Roger, because all I've got is a bunch of used paper. He pointed to the overflowing wastebasket. Don't give up, Anita said. I know that you can do it. After Anita left, Pongo watched his pet pace in front of his piano. Pongo, old boy, I must have written 10 songs in 10 days, but they're all terrible. What am I going to do? That night, Pongo talked to Purdy about Roger's dilemma. They sat in the middle of the living room surrounded by puppies. Roger's already written 10 songs. He doesn't think they're good enough to sell, but I know they are. I've heard him play them, and you don't have a songwriter for a pet without developing a good ear for hit songs. Purdy knew what he was thinking. Do you know the way to the music publisher? Pongo nodded. I've taken Roger for walks there dozens of times. After Roger and Anita had gone to sleep, Pongo padded into the music room and gathered up the sheet music from the wastebasket. Then he sneaked out of the house, carrying the music to the publisher's office. Pongo pushed all the pages under the door, then trotted back home. The next day, the phone rang and Roger answered. You what? You did? You are? But how did you? Oh, I see. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I don't know why I got all excited there. Anita rushed over. Who is that? My music publisher. He's buying 10 of my songs. 10 songs? I thought you didn't even have one to sell. Roger scratched his head. Well, I didn't think I did. So what happened? Purdy looked at Pongo and barked. Her husband sure could carry a tune all the way across town to Roger's publisher. It's the only way I could carry a tune is by having it on a piece of paper and carrying it to an office. So let's hear about some more women, shall we? Some more daring women. So today we're going to hear about Ida Lewis. She's a lighthouse keeper and lifesaver. So Ida's father was the Lime Rock lighthouse keeper in Rhode Island. The only way to get to the lighthouse was by boat. Ida loved the water and wanted to tag along. That meant she had to learn to row, and she did. She soon became as comfortable in a rowboat as she was on land. At 15, the family moved into the newly built lighthouse on Lime Rock. A few months later, her father became ill, and Ida took over his duties. To keep ships from crashing into the rocks, the light had to burn all night, warning sailors of the danger. That meant Ida had to fill it with oil twice a night, trim the wick, and keep the grass clean and polished. That meant dropping out of school. But she still rowed her young siblings to and from school every day. When she was 16, she made her first sea rescue. Four young men had capsized in the rough waters. Ida rowed out to them and hauled each one aboard her boat. It was a tremendous act of courage and strength for a young woman. On March 25th, 1869, two soldiers were caught in a storm. Their boat capsized and they were tossed into the freezing water. Despite the weather, Ida didn't hesitate. Without bothering to put on a coat, she sprinted to her boat and battled the crashing waves to ferry them to safety. Ida didn't talk about her rescues, but the soldiers did. Newspapers and magazines published stories about her courage and daring rescues. She was hailed as the bravest woman in America. Congratulatory letters poured in from around the world. Thousands of people came to meet her, including one very famous visitor, President Ulysses S. Grant. In her 54 years as a lighthouse keeper, she was credited with saving 18 people, but the number is probably much higher because she never kept track. Ida even inspired musicians. The Ida Lewis Waltz and Rescue Polka Mazurka, that's a fun word, were both written in her honor. In 1881, the U.S. Coast Guard awarded her with the Gold Life-Saving Medal, and in 1907, she became the first woman to receive the American Cross of Honor. In 1924, the name of the Lime Rock Lighthouse was officially changed to Ida Lewis Rock Lighthouse. It was an appropriate honor for this modest, brave, and steady as a rock woman. It's very inspiring to read about these women. So, my friends, God bless you all. Stay safe out there.